Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are listening to the Nullified Take channel here today, and good Friday or good Saturday. I hope you guys are having a brilliant start to your weekends. It's the Nullified Take. We're back to talk about the Challenge 39. It's Kahuna and me here on the mic for the first time this year. And Kahuna, what an exciting week of the Challenge. It is the return of Kara's Cult.
Ah,
We're back in town, baby. We're back in
there
town.
it is.
All of
Kara's
the Kara
Cult.
Cult fans, the stans like myself, the people that have been there since day one when people were hating on her. We're back in town, baby.
Look
Kara's
at that.
Cult is back in town.
Representing Chris.
One of the most exciting episodes in a very, very long time. How was it for you? I know you're not the biggest Kara fan, but your boy's got to represent when the girl is back. Our queen is back out there playing the game.
Hey man, it was exciting. Like I'm not gonna lie, like seeing her back after 4 years? 2019, I think, was her last appearance.
Yeah.
So we get, it was actually a really good sort of palate cleanse because we missed a couple episodes ago. Then last week you had the mid-season refresh with Drew and Chantel. So I got a bit of a break. I got a couple weeks off. Start the new year. I'm excited. We hit the ground running, and we started off with Kara coming back after 4 years. It was exciting. I was like one thing that this show has done well this season. Like obviously the challenge does a lot of things well, but the way they do that intro and the entry of the champions and hype them up. Like, brilliant. I'm like, yeah. I'm excited too. And when you see Kara come out, like, it was great. It was really great to see her come back.
Such an exciting moment. Chris is saying we had the best episode of the season this past week. Also saying Kona is mad because the real GOAT arrived to overshadow his precious Tori. Shots fired early on.
Kara is the female GOAT. I unequivocally say that she's better than Tori today. I just don't like that you have to do the drag down Tori in order to prop up Kara. Like I like Kara.
I think. Like, listen, we never spoke about it, but we did put it up for a poll, and I think it was like 70% of people said Tori's not a GOAT. And again, the blame should go on TJ for saying that she is. She's not. She's on her way. Yeah, she's on her way to potentially becoming a GOAT in the future if she wins another title, if she keeps up with her consistency. I agree there's a lot of hate for her, but statistic-wise, you can't deny she's one of the up-and-comers, but she's not there yet.
She's top. She's probably 7 for me, like moving into 5. Like she's in that 5 to 7 range of female competitors.
That's a fair call.
Yeah,
I think,
and that's top 10 of all time. That's one of the greatest, right? Top 5 of all time is one of the greatest, not the GOAT, but one of.
Yeah, for sure. Let's say hello to Joanne. Also, Willie saying, hey guys, suck that we haven't seen someone get eliminated. But Cara Maria being back was amazing. She is the real deal. And then Brian, slightly disagreeing here with you in the intros. The champs, some of them have been lackluster. I will say for me with Cara Maria, it was interesting that they chose the one that she won with her cousin instead of the one where she beat the men. Like, I would have loved to see the one where she, what was a cutthroat, where she went at the end and she was like, I beat all the men and I won, because that is the most badass one. The one
they did show it. They mentioned it, and they showed her doing her little Barbie, like ballerina dance over the finish line, which I remembered. I was like, oh yeah, that was great. But I think it was just the reaction, the screaming and jumping up and down with Jamie, cousin. with cousin was made a
That's
good
right.
visual. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, don't, like Chris is saying, hold on, I'm not dragging down one woman to hype up another. You know, I always support my girls, but Tori ain't it. I will continue to annoy Chris with my Corey support for the season, and you can continue to annoy her with your Tori support for the season. Like, I don't feel like you're in this alone. I feel like we're both in this to a certain degree. Chris says, I think they did show TJ said first solo champ during her intro package.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So I may have just
Yeah.
slightly missed
It
out on
was
that.
like a 2-second throwaway, but they mentioned it and then focused on the other wins. So
yeah, so let's talk about the episode a little bit. I know we free flow a lot of the time, and Cara Maria is the main event, and we'll come back to that. You know, obviously everything that happened with her, because you can clearly tell she just knows how to get the best out of the camera, and she worked her magic for the little bit of time that she had on the show. But the season starts off with the new contenders, the ones that are trying to become champions at this stage. And Raven has just beaten Laurel, which is a massive achievement. We get a little bit of the aftermath here of Michelle talking about Laurel hating her, and maybe she should have stepped in to earn some respect, but she's trying to win the season. Yada, yada, yada. It's a lot of Michelle talking about, you know, some of the things that are going on outside of the game and the relationship between them there. You didn't get an opportunity to talk about that last week when we did the mid-season review. What about this Laurel Michelle beef? Do you think this is something that is going to transcend into another season? I mean, Michelle, obviously she got on a real high by the end of this episode, and we'll talk about that a little bit. I think Michelle's becoming the mainstay at this stage for the challenge. We'll see a lot of her in the future. So do you think that they're trying to build this rivalry, this legacy within the show, and that this is something that will grow in coming seasons?
I don't know if Laurel's going to be back enough to make it a thing to build around and make it a plot point. I don't know if she's a mainstay on the main show like Michelle undoubtedly is and will be going forward. Laurel will do All Stars 4, we know that, and she'll probably come back for 40 if they make it a big champs thing and all that, which Michelle probably won't. So I don't know how they can weave that story. Like, if they really want to play on it, they'll get Laurel and Michelle in a season together again. But I think Laurel's just a psycho. Why? Like, who cares, man? Like, you're Laurel. You're supposed to.
You're gonna upset a lot of Laurel fans here by saying this.
Well, I mean, I love Laurel. I think she's an immense competitor, but
That's right.
Mental. Like, she will hold a grudge forever for like stupid reasons. Like, she's not stable, but she's an amazing competitor. One thing that will live on forever, and I love, is that Laurel called her Purple Jacket and refused to call her a name.
No, not Laurel, Cara Maria.
Laura called her Purple Jacket, and then this year,
really?
Cara continued it and said Orange Shirt.
Yeah.
So
do you think Cara and Laurel had, like,
yes,
surely they talked beforehand? And even the reason 100%. That Michelle got called down, I feel like Laurel got in her ear before.
Yeah, definitely. Laurel came back. She goes, I called her Purple Jacket. And Cara's going, I'm going to just say whatever clothing she's wearing too. She goes, there's like Orange Shirt.
Refused to acknowledge her name out there, which is brilliant for me. Zoe
Jacket,
is in the house all the way from South Africa. Zoe, Happy New Year to you as well. It's been a while since we've seen you in the live. We have to catch up at some stage. I know it's been a while since we've had a proper chat. So I hope everything is going well over there in South Africa and you're doing well. Let's have a look at what other people are saying. Val G saying the only thing that would have made this better is if she won. I totally agree. We'll talk about that. Dabu, welcome back in the live as well. Thanks, Val. Same to you. Zoe saying lol, the purple and orange shirt. And Zoe saying, I so wish the elimination was physical. 100% wish it was physical, because Michelle would have definitely not come out of that. Love to you as well, Zoe. 100% too many puzzles. Calling her orange shirt was epic. So interesting early start here to the episode with a bit of Michelle drama. A lot of that is going to happen throughout the episode. And then we're still sort of starting to see, I guess, throughout this episode, the main sort of theme is that big alliance, and it's something that has annoyed a lot of people coming into the season. It's literally the whole house and almost all of the Americans, with Colleen and Emmanuel kind of, and Berna on top of that as well, are sort of together. And we're now seeing them fracture because they've gotten rid of all the easy votes. They've gotten rid of a lot of the international people. Mariah is very much fighting for James to stay safe at this stage. I still don't know how Zara is safe. I think West did some preseason work there, and she's done a good job since she's come in and played the game. But we're starting to see those fractures with Kyland realizing he's in the out, trying to get Horacio to realize that he's in the out, and then obviously Colleen, that ultimately is going to go in at some stage, is going to start realizing she's on the outs as well. So that alliance is fracturing, and we're getting a lot of, if these two people stay in the house this episode, then things are going to change. Things are going to be open. Like, what's going to change? Yeah, what's going to change? You've got the numbers right now. Make a move now. Why wait another episode for no one to go home to have the same amount of numbers to make a move? Make it make sense to me, Kahuna, because I was confused throughout this episode.
And potentially even less. I think what they're just hoping for, when Kylan says things like, "Oh, it's going to flip. This one is going to flip now." I think it's like he's seen what the thing is, but he's hoping that the more and more it goes on, and Raven keeps getting, done by the rest of the group, and maybe he's like, maybe they'll wake up and realize, and this is the straw that breaks the camel's back. They'll finally now realize they're at the bottom and try to do something. I'm assuming that's what it is. Because, yeah, they've got the numbers there already. It's just about getting them on side, I guess. And we see this in every one of these shows, right? The Challenge, Survivor, all that sort of thing. Does the person on the bottom recognize that they're on the bottom? Because that's the only way to get them out of that alliance or that group, right? Is because everyone thinks that they're just as solid as everyone else. And it's only when they realize they're too scared to make a move. Yeah, that's always a part of it as well. But once they realize where they are in the pecking order and they're not scared enough to act on it, that's when some stuff can happen. And I guess for the people that are scared, you need some sort of catalyst, some sort of motivating factor. And a lot of the times it might be an elimination, or that you're getting closer to being the next one in the elimination. So I better make a move now. But they need to realize something like that is it the Awesome Foursome or the Fantastic Four or the Core Four, whatever.
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic
Four. It's an interesting alliance, but I mean, I'm kind of seeing like Asaf has been at certain points in the season, we've all acknowledged has been annoying, a little bit cringe. Maybe if there are people out there that listen to this podcast that are like, I'm a part of Kara's cult. If you're a part of Asaf's cult, let us know if they exist out there. Different strokes for different folks.
It doesn't.
You don't think it exists?
No, it does not.
We don't want to make it a thing. By me putting it out there in the universe, we might actually make that a thing, right? So yeah, like I was going to say, I could kind of see how Asaf's storyline is starting to make sense, why they've given him a lot of screen time, because it is now translating into him actually being able to play that double agent role, Kahuna, as well, because he's been able to sit into conversations with Emmanuel and Colleen talking about going up against the four people. Colleen has almost picked the full four people that are the nucleus right now in the game. She's got Jay, she's got, I think, everyone except for Asaf, and she's replaced Asaf with Olivia at this stage in that core four. But she's got 3 of the core 4 pegged that currently is on her hit list, and Asaf sat in on that conversation. So I feel like Asaf's going to play a big role, and hate him or love him, Asaf's coming back next season based on the edit he's getting, based on the fact that he is this mole and he's playing. They're probably, well, season 40, he may not come back unless he's the champion, but I feel like he's doing himself favors coming back. Like, production is loving what Asaf is giving.
He's also going at the some of the vets on social media and stuff as well. He's not backing down. Like, Devin's had some good interactions with him. Like, he's just going at them for no reason. I think he's building it up. Some people have actually called him out on it, saying you're just, you're trying to secure another season. And he's actually said that I don't want to come back to this show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So which was interesting because he said, I'm a music producer. I'm a music producer. That's my thing. Like, I only want to concentrate on my music. I'm like, yeah, right, mate.
His music's not going to pay him. I don't know if you've seen, like, again, we shout out to Red is Not a Flavor, the YouTube channel. We got featured as a channel on there briefly in one of the previous Red is Not a Flavor ones as well, with one of the comments I made on there being posted in the video. But Red is Not a Flavor actually put some little bits and snippets of his music on there, and it's not for me in any case. Everybody's got their different taste. Let's say hello to someone that hasn't been in the live in a very long time, Hector Flores, I believe all the way from Mexico. I missed the more exciting eliminations. Why do they have to be all puzzles? They're boring to watch from a TV screen. And then Brian following up by saying, he has a feeling the production wants to do this so that they can push the contenders by giving them a better chance to beat a champ, so they can prop them up as champ beaters. And it hasn't gone all that well for the champions at this stage, Kahuna, because some of the people we love, like Laurel, she's lost. Cara Maria came in. Yes, she did a lot, and I feel like even though she lost, she won more by just how she acted and how she played her couple of minutes of fame there. And then obviously Darrell also losing. A lot of the champions having a very difficult time out there. It's only
I think
Jordan.
it's 4-4. It's 4 and
Sorry,
4.
is it 4 and 4?
4 and 4. So Jordan won, Tori won, Casey won, Kaz lost,
So it's 3 and 4 because CT
and
hasn't
Devin.
come
Yeah,
out yet.
Devin. No, well, Devin as well, right? So there's only Brad and CT left.
Right.
So it's 4 and 4.
Right.
So 50% win rate. Not great. Not great.
It's not great for the champions. And I was thinking to myself, like, it could be one thing. They could be pushing the champs to try and elevate them. But another thing that it could also be potentially is, do we get a future season where we get old school versus new school? The champs, the vets versus the rookies or something like that. Do we get that kind of a season potentially in the future? Because imagine a team full of champions that have to play a whole season doing dailies versus a team full of these newer contenders. I feel like they would mop the floor with them.
It's a walkover.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's completely one-sided.
Yeah, so I do agree with you, Brian. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I think it's a little bit of like, I'm a big like long-time fan, or not in recent years, but I'm from childhood I was a big fan of wrestling, WWE and stuff. And they have this thing called putting someone over or jobbing. Like, they lose on purpose, but sometimes the losing on purpose is to serve a greater narrative purpose, is to actually put someone over. And if you are a higher class wrestler and you lose to someone who's lower than you, then you elevate them. The crowd goes, oh wow, like they beat this legend or whatever, right? Yeah. And it's part of the role and part of the job that they know, I will lose properly and I will lose honorably because I'm actually passing the torch on, or I'm lifting up this guy, and it's all part of the.
There's too much
the
egos
whole
in
thing.
the challenge. There's too much
Yeah.
egos. I don't see Laurel like being, I got to give one to Raven so she can bolt her credibility.
Putting them over, yeah.
Cara Maria being like, oh yeah, Michelle, I need to I just don't think, I think it's too competitive out there. I don't think it's happening in this case. Zoe coming in with the 70 Rand. Thank you so much, Zoe. Much appreciated. We'll go to good use. We'll put it back into the channel, saying one thing I love about Michelle winning is that the outsiders are building numbers. A lot of rooms for real fantastic gameplay. If they are smart, let's pray the season can still be saved. And I was going to ask you actually on that note, what do you think of the Zara Raven alliance that is happening? Do you think there is a chance that their mutual sort of heightened distaste for the power structure that is at the moment that's enough to bond them together? Because they also now have Colleen that potentially could fall into that. And they're winning between Raven and Zara. They've won a lot of dailies. Like they said, no one that doesn't win dailies like Michelle and the rest of the team should feel as safe as they are feeling right now in the game. Do you think that they can do damage and save the season by there being two alliances that can go up against each other?
Zara's great. I think Zara, like you were mentioned before, that she's still there. I think she's only there because she's won challenges, right? Like the fact
what is
that
it, like 7 now or something? Like 7
like very, very good. So I mean, one of the great things about the challenge is that the people that you want to put in and not be at the end, you have to make sure that they don't win the dailies as well. So it's always hard. Like there's these levels of complication to executing a plan, is because they can win the daily and stop you from doing that. Then they go down the sand anyway and still win and come back. So it adds that level of complexity, which I love. And Zara is proving herself to be a really strong competitor, which I find absolutely fascinating. She may be like, I think she's got a little bit more on camera in confessionals, but is she a bit of a Casey, like very physically dominant, strong competitor, but not really bringing that much as far as, entertainment wise? And
it's early.
It's
early to say, but it's not unnecessarily an unfair call. I don't know if she's done anything crazy on camera at this stage, or if she's got like a really sparkling personality, but she seems lovely.
They seem to love her.
And even the fans, I don't think fans look at her like they look at Casey for some other reason.
That's true.
I haven't heard those rumblings yet. Lena says Coriel made a good point when he said showing up in the house with all your friends does not equate to having a good social game. And the camera panned straight at Michelle when that was said, and you could see Michelle looking at him like, "Are you pointing it in my direction?" Because Michelle does have a great social game, but
yes,
she puts in the work off season, and she's been networking with the challengers like no one else's business. What will be interesting is to see when more veterans come back into the game, where does she truly sit within the hierarchy of challengers? Because my suspicion is that she still won't be in that inner core of the Vacation Alliance if they come back into the game. She would still be on the outer. But this is her season. Like, this is Michelle's season. If she does not win this season, I don't see it getting any easier for her moving forward, unless what Jay keeps telling us, the new competitors, the new breeders out there, they're better, stronger, smarter, all that kind of stuff, unless they take over the challenge, which I also don't see happening. I think this is Michelle's season.
I don't think she's going to win.
No, but this is her opportunity. This is our opportunity.
Yeah. This is the one. Like, Ride or Dies, she was, I mean, through some very flawed social moves, was right at the bottom of it, like got picked on completely by the vets, and you know, sort of her and Jay brought it on herself, and I think that will continue going forward. So it's this season is where she can play queen pin is because none of the other ones are there. It's a clean slate, open playing field, so she gets to actually make some moves. But when she's playing on a board full of monsters and killers and veterans that are just so
and
good,
years of friendship, years of
like
together that you've got to try and break into.
Significantly harder, absolutely.
Very difficult to do. Let's speed read through a few comments here to try and catch up. Chris says, yes, let me know if you're a stand up for stuff so I can block you. Willie Lloyd says, the only person I like in the Fantastic Four is Nerys. And we'll talk about Nerys in a little bit. Elise saying, what's up, guys? Late to the party, but I'm here. Welcome to the live. Danica says, let's not say we did. I'm not sure what that was for. Maybe the Stan thing about Asaf. Lena, his interview on Challenge Mania is more enjoyable than on the TV. So Asaf's got a better interview on Challenge Mania than what he is on TV. I think the reason Asaf's, like I've said this so many times, like I sound like a broken record. Probably a super nice guy outside of the game. He is turning on a certain character for the screen that we can see is not him. It's not authentic. And I think that is what is annoying more than anything else. Hector saying they're insulting their own champs to hype up the new competitors. That's not the way to go. Even producers don't have faith in this new generation, so they need to convince us that they are worthy. I think it's a frustration that a lot of people are feeling, especially if you're a fan of the old school sort of champs. You know, even for me, I got let down massively by seeing Cara Maria come back, and then I'm like, oh, we're going to put her on a puzzle instead of giving her a hall brawl, instead of giving her like a pole wrestle or something physical that we know she would dominate at. Wasn't too happy to see that. Danica saying, I don't believe that he loves the attention. Asaf said that. Asaf said he didn't want to come back. So a few people saying that. I love Reddit's not a flavor. Totally. It's a great YouTube channel for those who don't know about it. Really, really funny content. At sometimes have been more entertaining than the actual season this season for me. Elisa saying, I tried listening to his Challenge Mania podcast, but stopped 30 minutes in. Asaf is too annoying. Danica says, finally got YouTube to load computer. So having computer issues. Great to have you here. Let's try and catch up.
It's hard running YouTube in the car all the time, I guess, when you're driving.
Yeah. Chris is saying Zara's way more interesting than Casey. She doesn't get many confessionals, but her confessionals have more charisma in it when she does speak. So I think it's a fair call.
That's
very
true.
tough. It's very tough also with Zara only having been on 2 seasons. You know what I mean? Like Casey's had a long opportunity to build a persona on the show now. But like I said, World Championship. Well,
World
Championship was World Championship. And World Championship
Casey was good.
Without Nani, without her normal friends, was entertaining. Like, I think if you bring back Casey, bring her back without her friends, because her friends allow for her to sit back and be calm. Brian says, agree with the wrestling analogy, but there is a difference between someone being put over organically with the fans and one where they are artificially putting them over on fans. I don't buy into it.
Yeah. That's true.
And then Sudani Speaks, welcome back to the live as well, saying happy Friday, Chris and Kahuna and Chad. I thought this was the season's strongest episode so far. Do you feel the same way? Do you feel like this was the episode? And what made this episode better than others in most fans' minds? Because we've now had 2 people say Chris and Sudani believes this was their best episode.
Look, unlike a lot of people, which when I read Facebook groups and stuff like that, there's so much hate for this season. And I don't really get it. Like, I get that it doesn't have the vets, and there's been some really iffy strategic choices, and some of the performances in the deliberations have been abysmal, but kind of made it entertaining.
I think it's funny.
I've had a good season. I've enjoyed watching it. Like I like the fact that we've got fresh people that don't know what they're doing and they're finding their footing in the game and seeing who rises to the top and who struggles. I've kind of appreciated it. But this episode was good, and I think primarily because we had a really, really good daily. I love the daily this week. Cara Maria coming back is obviously like there's the recency bias as well. It just happened. It's the last thing that you see in the episode. You're left on a high of Cara Maria back, and I think that plays a big part into it as well. So there was a lot going on. Michelle, obviously, we know that she's had that social game the whole season, but this episode they kind of made it the plot that she is the queen. She's running things. Is it going to come back to her? All that sort of thing. So it was an interesting episode. I think they did it well.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. For me, I'm not as low on the season as a lot of other people, but there has been patches, like even with the strategy and this person said that about me, and now this and that. It's like a lot of like this cattiness drama going on that I'm just not that invested in. I mean, some of that we can talk about a little bit here. Nerys phoning back home, hearing that Olivia's been talking mad shit about her behind her back. Saying that she was going to use it for the season and then basically discard of her. What the hell is going on there? And how does Nerys's family have the tea on this? Like, it was weird. Like, it felt like it was drama that was artificially put into the game for something to happen because there's just not enough going on.
I do have an explanation that I've heard. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But I have heard that the source of that back to the family, because everyone was like,
I feel like we need I feel like we need that little sort of soundboard that says "Breaking news is happening right now" with Kahuna.
No, people. I heard that it was Anissa because Anissa and Olivia got very close after Ride or Dies, and would hear what Olivia would say and talking and blah blah blah. And apparently, she had no problems being a bit of a snake and going to Nerys's family behind Olivia's back. So Anissa was apparently the source of Nerys's family. So she knows Olivia and was hearing from Olivia whatever Olivia was saying and was happy to pass it on.
Wow. Well, I'm not surprised. A little bit of spicy news there. Not surprised to hear Anissa's name being dropped in there.
She needs to stay relevant.
She's never far from the drama. She's got to be involved. And to be honest with you, it kind of makes sense for me because everybody was very high on Olivia last season. Everybody loved her. I wasn't the biggest fan of Olivia. I was like, she's okay.
Really? I was. I loved her.
Nah, she wasn't my cup of tea 100%. But I was sitting on it. I can't claim to say I was talking mad smack about it because it's just not in my character to talk mad smack about people unless it's Emmanuel turning his back on the GOAT Jordan. Then yes, I will talk smack. But like Olivia, for me it's very interesting because you hear her talk mad shit about Horacio this whole season as well and being catty and like, oh, Horacio is this, he doesn't give me any attention. And she's even going with that drama and putting it on Nerys. She doesn't seem to be like a loyal friend. A loyal friend would go to Horacio, pull him aside and say, hey, mate, you're not spending time with me at all anymore. Where do we stand? Are we still ride or dies? What the hell's going on? Instead of going around the house talking shit about him everywhere to everybody else. So it kind of feels like it's a character trait of Olivia. And if it's happening with Horacio, who she's a lot closer to than what she is with Nerys, at 100% probably is true that she spoke shit about Nerys before the season. It's kind of how I look at it.
I really appreciated that scene with Olivia saying, I got such a good reception last season. As a rookie, people love me. But that in and of itself built in so much pressure that she felt coming. Like I really I found that really interesting that she acknowledges the fact that the fans appreciated her and it felt genuine, and that there's so much pressure that comes with that it's scaring her. I agree with you that it seems like it's really just a matter of you need to have a conversation. Like that's just a talk, right? But I get where she's coming from.
I know girls like Olivia. I know girls like that. And I think that's what triggered me seeing her last season as well. Where I was like, she seems to be the catty girl, the high school queen type. Like there's something there.
I haven't seen her this season talking anything about Nerys at all. The Horacio thing is like,
she
can't think about it, right?
Like if she talks about Nerys, she needs Nerys this season.
True. But the fact that they're not friends now, Obviously, it came out and all that sort of thing. But Olivia hasn't done too much. But if you come into a show and you're like, we were ride or dies, we've known each other. They weren't like Fessy and Mariah, where he just basically recruited her for the season. They were actual friends, I believe. And she said, like, we're coming onto a new season. After the next season, after Ride or Dies, we're on 39. And he didn't even tell me he was on the show. Like, he's not talking to me. We're Ride or Dies, we're friends, but he has not been a friend to her. And that's what she's saying. She's lamenting it. She's stressing about it. She's talking about her feelings. She's not talking shit about him. She's saying,
come on, nah, come on.
I have a friend
Kahuna.
that has ignored me this entire game. Like, what do you want her to do?
Kahuna, that comment is applicable. Lena saying it's manipulative, very effective. What she's doing
There's
is
two sides to every coin.
Yeah, 100%. And listen, like with Horacio, if she's close friends with him, she knows what he's like. He comes across as that typical, he's an introverted guy, unlike the Fessy introvert. He's an actual introverted guy, and he's someone who probably don't speak his feelings all the time and like just does his own thing and lives in his own little world. But that is him. Like when you become friends with people, you have to adapt and know that different people are different in that way. But all I'm going to say is with her, with her putting out, and I don't disagree. Like I'm not defending Horacio's social game because it's horrible. There is some fault there as well. Like he's not working on the relationship. 100% there's some fault there as well. But what I'm trying to say is instead of going around and painting a target on Horacio, who's never coming after Olivia, he's even saying in the confessionals, Olivia's my ride or die. I'm not going for her. I've never come for her.
She did take it too far.
She is painting targets. She's putting targets on places she doesn't need to. Like this, how many other guys would be as close to her as Horacio is at this stage?
Yeah.
Outside of whoever she's hooked up with, Emmanuel maybe will keep her safe. But I don't know about anybody else that will keep her safe at this stage as much as Horacio would.
I think,
and he's winning dailies.
Yeah. Like I think Horacio has her back, but she doesn't know it, right? And from that not knowing, like with the lack of communication both ways. Thank you. I'll just listen to the first part of that sentence.
Yeah, choose the first part of the sentence. Let's read it because a few good comments have come in. Let's read a couple of comments here. Elise says, I don't like Olivia at all. I didn't like her last season, but felt bad because of her accident and gave her props for what she handled or how she handled it, like her even less now. I agree. I think she got a lot of bonus points for the fact that she handled the injury really well last season. Valji says it was weird that they didn't show Olivia and Horacio talking at all. Like, did it really go down like that, or was it just edited that way? Yeah, we may have been missing some conversations. I feel like Olivia, instead of dealing with it and talking to Horacio, she's getting in her feelings. And there's also an element of jealousy from Olivia happening here because she's now not only seen Reese become very close to Horacio and that relationship blossoming, and especially if she doesn't think much of Nerys and she's keeping that a secret, probably isn't helping Horacio's case. And Horacio seems to be getting very close to Zara, and there's some friendship that's forming there as well, which again makes her insecure. I think Olivia is putting her insecurities out, like Nerys said, you're putting your insecurities on me. I don't want to hear about it, type of thing. So she's not getting a lot of love there from Nerys when talking to her. Joanne says, Sidoni speaks at Sidoni speaks like girl, focus on your ankle and overall performance instead of worrying about Olivia and Nerys. Danica says, I think, this is exactly what I said. I think Olivia is jealous of the fact that Horacio is having other friendships, platonic or not. She probably feels replaced. That's not what she's used to. Brian saying, so annoyed at Jay. This is an interesting one as well, gassing Olivia up, trying to say that she was the reason Horacio and Olivia made it as far as they did. I mean,
that was crazy.
That was crazy. And Olivia believing it. It's, to me, it's insane because Olivia was a newbie that season. She was going to get thrown in regardless that season. The reason that she kept doing well was because she was attached to Horacio, who was capable of winning eliminations.
Yeah. Like when Jay said, like, you're the reason, like, socially why you didn't go, like, they went into 4 eliminations or something. Was it like they got thrown down so many times? Like, it wasn't the social game saving her. I do like Olivia, and I do appreciate Jay trying to help someone when they're down on themselves and saying, I don't deserve to be here. People like blah, blah, blah. Like, it's Horacio.
It's all strategic. Me.
Like, I get that. I like that he's doing it, but he went like too far going, you're the reason. You're the main thing.
You were the superstar of the team last season the whole time. You just didn't realize it. And you were dragging Horacio's ass to the final.
Remember when Boston Rob had that conversation with Michelle and said, "No, you're a champion because you're a
Yeah, I
champion.
remember
F
that.
everyone else." Like, it could have been along those lines. No, you are a strong competitor. Even though Horacio is strong, you got to the finals. It's a two-person thing. Like, you're part of a team. But he's like, "No, you're it. F Horacio, you're the reason. Like, everything is you.
He was
Like, I
holding
was
you
like,
back.
whoa."
He was holding you back the whole last season. You were dragging his ass. It was funny to see, and obviously Jay is doing it because he's trying to get Olivia on side to go after Horacio, who is a threat in the final. It makes sense that you don't want Horacio because I mean, listen, this is a solo season. If last season was a solo season, I think Horacio would have stood a good chance of winning it. So he's unshackled this season going into a final. So you want to get rid of him before that. But the way that Jay is going about it is masterful. So Danny says, I also feel like Horacio's relationship with Zara has her insecure because challengers have said on the Challenge podcast that Olivia wasn't working out much in the house. Dabu's also saying, aren't they filming the reunion next week? Saw a couple of them fly out to London. It's possible. I'm not across when the reunion is going to get filmed, but that would be fun. Elise says Olivia is trying to make it easier to say Horacio's name. She was fine last season because she was his partner, but now he's her competitor. Brian says communication is a two-way street. Sounds like she isn't making an effort to talk to him and hanging around her alliance. Chris says, well, to defend Horacio for a minute, he was supposed to join some soccer tournament and wasn't going to be on 39. I think he joined 39 very last minute, so I don't think not telling Olivia was shady. So a little bit of behind the scenes there, Kahuna, in regards to that.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's shady. Horacio is not shady at all. I just think he's a guy that's ignorant of how other people feel around him and has no idea Olivia's feeling the way she is. He's like, everything's great.
W says, well, Chris, your GOAT. Jordan loves Olivia. They'll be allies for sure next season. Dilemma for you. Hey, listen, I'm a Cara Maria and Jordan fan, so that's been the story of my life. They don't like each other. Doesn't mean I can't like both of them. You know, like we don't have to choose the side here. We can like
Jordan.
people.
Jordan came out on social media and propped up Cara Maria this week,
saying
how bullcrap it is that the house helps in eliminations. He was on Cara Maria's side with that, and there's respect there, even if there's not like.
I think that they're both working towards a place where in the future they would be able to work together towards a common cause. Remember, for many years, Cara Maria and Bananas didn't see eye to eye either. And they had that patch there where they could work together because the enemy of my enemy is my friend, basically. You know, that sort of principle applies. Val says Olivia's shady as AF, even trying to start shit by asking Nerys if she was bothered by Horacio hanging out so much with Zara. Yeah, she definitely is. She's trying to stir some shit. Let's be honest. She's that cool. How can you not see it? Nah,
she's
Kahuna,
just
come on.
chatting. They're in this house 24 hours a day, like, and there's literally nothing to do. They're talking. You don't have to assign malice to every single thing that's put out. Like, she's not gaming the system by talking to a friend, like another woman, about their partner, like their new relationship. It's just chatting by the poolside.
Come on, Kahuna. She's stirring. You know she's stirring. She's looking for a reaction. Elisa saying Horacio spent time with Nerys and works out a lot. That's how they became friends with Jordan last season and Zaza this season. Maybe if Olivia stepped in the gym instead of the pool, they'd talk also. Shots fired. Lena saying Raven said on the official podcast that Olivia would say subtle things to make Nerys question Horacio's feelings.
Oh, that's dodgy as hell. That's gaslighty, shady, and that's bad.
Lena's trying to take the shovel away from you, mate. She's trying to take the shovel away from you, and all you're doing is you're like, keep digging.
I love it. I'm going to defend the defenseless.
BBG95 says Cara also gave Jordan a lot of credit when she and Darrell were watching his elimination against Kieran. That is true. She did. So we spoke a little bit about the Nerys and Olivia drama. Let's talk a little bit about the daily challenge. You said you liked this daily challenge. Talk me through it. What stood out for you? Because this was a classic, two teams going up against each other, trying to get the other team off with, I guess, the variation being the physical glass wall that was in the middle of them that they had to push. Yeah. A lot of the times you have been critical at times saying that certain things don't translate well to the TV show. What did you like about this one?
This, like, being a physical challenge, which is kind of rudimentary. It's just down to basics. I push against you, right? It's who's got the strength. But then there's the twist of a literal twisting screen, so you can actually put strategy in it and start spinning them in circles. When do we stop it and throw it back off balance? And there was a little bit more chess to it than just straight up brute strength. But the brute strength thing was such a core part of it. I'm you know what I've realized? I think if I can go philosophical for 1 second, Chris, I'll take you on a tangent here.
Go for it.
Sports, the challenge, Survivor, anything that's competitive like that, I started realizing watching that thing, it comes down to like, I think it's some throwback to like evolutionary traits, like caveman, Neanderthal humans, everything is just physical. Like the first Olympics was like, I'm wrestling you, I'm pushing against you, I'm fighting against you, I'm racing you, I'm running. It's whatever it is. And this is just the epitome of two people, bulls, horns, four people on a team pushing against each other and trying to get each other off a thing is like our most core animalistic instincts of just like push, like, you know what I mean? It just instills that thing. And the fact that you add in a glass panel so they can stare each other in the eyes while they're doing it, like
I didn't even think about that.
while it's 40 feet above the water.
Yeah.
Like they just, you know what I mean? Like it
You
was
see
great.
the fear in your competitors' eyes when they're
Like,
about to go down and they know they're gonna fall and they're like, oh
Yeah.
damn, this is gonna hurt, you know? Yeah, I love the challenge as well. And I couldn't help but think when they were doing this is what Survivor has been lacking. Like just good old classic head-to-head physical bangers. Like we don't get them in Survivor anymore because they don't really put athletes on the show anymore. It's a lot of normal people. I'm not advocating for all of them being athletes, but I definitely want to see some physical stuff come back, and just good old challenges like this is fun to watch. And it's interesting to see the different strategies, because they could go back and forward. They could move it around to try and change the where the center of the masses, for instance, as they're pushing, and then the strategy being used with most of the teams choosing to have the two men in the middle instead of the sides, because that's where they could do the most damage. It's interesting because with the two women being on the side, could you have staggered it? Could you have been like, okay, we've got Michelle on the side, let's put Ed against her or something like that, you know, so that we can swing it a little bit easier. Yeah, so there was a lot of strategy that I think went into this that we probably didn't even realize, but it was quite telling that the team who actually ended up winning this was, you know, they weren't the most physically gifted team either. It wasn't the team that we looked at them and, we didn't look at them and thought like, okay, this is going to be the team that is going to absolutely wipe the floor with everyone. Like Ed obviously is a beast. Horacio is very fit, but he's not the biggest guy. And then Zara and Berna, they're quite stocky, but they're also not the biggest girls either. Like I feel like there were some big teams out there, but like for instance, it showed you size doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. When you say they're not the most physical team, I think they are the most physical team, just not the biggest team, right? You put James and Mariah on a team where the thing is pushing, you think, but like when Zara isn't as a physical beast, like they are physical competitors, not just necessarily in mass, right? And this was a challenge where, yes, mass was important and size was important, but that competitive thing of being able to figure out the game and strategy and spinning, and when you put someone like Zara, Ed, and Horacio together, and Berna is really amongst the women one of the more physical as well. Like I think Mariah is very strong, Olivia's very strong, Raven has shown that she's very strong, but Zara and Berna amongst the others are probably quite up there as well. So that combination is pretty good together.
You know what was funny? While I was watching this challenge, I noticed that Ed suddenly like had so much more confessionals. I'm like, oh, I'm loving the Ed content suddenly. Like Ed is actually a part of the show because he normally gets like one confessional here and there, and it's like a funny one-liner. And then I realized he's in the same team as Horacio, Zara, and Berna. So he probably is the most charismatic out of the three.
He has to give the confessional.
He was always going to give the confessionals because I was like, oh, this is really good for my man Ed. He's finally getting some screen time. And then I realized, no, it's just you're in a team full of people who are not the best, and they're kind of like duds. So they were always going to go to you for it. But it was an interesting one because they had to choose who to send down. And in this case, you know, Zara mentioned to Horacio and put kind of a little bit of pressure on him, saying that, listen, we've not been in a position where we've had power for a very long time, and we keep getting outvoted because both herself and Horacio have been in the winning team more often than not, but outnumbered. With
Yeah.
Berna trying to keep Colleen safe, but Horacio going that way. And then Ed is the one that got the most flack here for not standing up for Colleen. I'm a little bit confused by this. Does Ed and Colleen have that tight of an alliance? Yes, they're in this big alliance, but it's the whole freaking house. Why is Ed catching all of the strays here?
Well, they're technically part of the alliance, and I guess you have to fight. Like Berna did her role. She's like, I'm fighting for Colleen. Like, no matter what, I'm outnumbered, but she stood up for it. Like maybe silly, like stupidly. Like the reason why people have let things go is because they see the writing on the wall and go, I'm not going to cause waves because I paint a target on myself here, so I'll let the numbers decide. But Berna fought for Colleen. Like she went all the way. Ed was happy to go, yeah, like I'll fight for someone, but Colleen's not putting me in danger like this.
By the way, while we're talking about Berna, like just got to quickly mention this before we keep going on with this, but last episode, Berna being there to stop the romance every single time. Like, what did you think of that? Like, if I was ever to go onto a challenge season, I would hope Berna's not around there to stop the mojo. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like
the goat of cock blocks. She's the best at it. Berna, like we saw early, like the first episode, her social game is for shit. Like she can't do, and then last week she's
great at giving advice though
about the social game. Even the Michelle bit where she was like, "What happened? We're supposed to be best friends. Like I thought we're BFFs forever." And Michelle's like, chill, just relax. I'm protecting you. It's like, no, I need the attention constantly.
Yeah,
and then
I
for her
the acknowledgement,
she's out there. So, but it does show that sort of level of like dedication to your friends for someone like Colleen. It obviously works on your side. Like Berna did fight for her. She was going to, she's going to match no matter what.
Chris, no showmances. Chris, stay away from those girls. Yeah, they'd probably eat me alive over there, to be honest. Keep my head in the game if I was ever to go on the challenge. I first need to make Australian Survivor in 2025, because that's probably by the time it will film, if I do apply for it. And then after that, hopefully make my way over to the challenge, So there's still a couple of years before then. But Chris is saying Survivor was wild when they did those mud wrestling challenges, just out there killing one another. Used to love that.
For reward.
Yeah, for like a peanut butter sandwich, and they would like break limbs, like and get people medevac for a peanut butter sandwich. Basically, the Americans and their peanut butter, man, they love it. Don't get between them and their peanut butter sandwich. BBG95 says, I agree with Chris. Bring back the sumo at sea. BBG95 says also, Berna was great TV in the last episode. She reminds me so much of Larry David on Curb Your Enthusiasm. She's right up a lot of things, but just doesn't have much social tact at all. W says Colleen needs to get rid of Idris treatment, lease her contact info ASAP. Colleen needs to
she needs to get the Idris treatment.
What is the Idris treatment?
Idris, do you remember Idris? I think it was War of the Worlds 2. He was a UK alliance. He was a UK guy who was a boxer, and he just added nothing to the season at all. He was like, So she's saying that Colleen needs to be removed.
Yeah, she's a pretty face and everything, but doesn't do much. And I think that's the problem with this season. It's like I'm all for getting new people on the show. I'm all for blooding new champs and getting a new generation. It's just, is this the best that we can do? Like, casting wise, like there's got to be other choices out there.
When you're casting 24 people, like how many 24 people, 30, 26 people, like you got to have some, like you can't have 26 bangers. Like there's going to be some duds in there. You need fodder. Like there's going to be stars.
You think they pay some of them less?
They pay all of this season less. Like the whole thing about this season is that
Colleen's there for free.
Money.
They're like, you can come, but it's for free. We'll pay the accommodation. We'll sort everything.
Well, the whole thing with the challenge is they pay on tenure. The number of seasons you've done scales your pay. So that's why they got everyone with one season. The most was Big T with 4 seasons or something. Like I think they get 1 season only. Like
okay, we'll stop, lovable Nikki. We'll stop. We won't go into Colleen too much. She doesn't need it. She's already on the outs. Brian says Berna is going to be really disappointed when she finds out that she is low on Michelle's alliance list. Sudani says Berna also had a crush on Horacio at the beginning of the season, so her cock blocking of Nerys and Horacio was extra funny. Been someone who tend to be nervous and can be a mess. We've stopped, okay? We've stopped. I promise. We won't go too hard on Colleen. I feel you, Nikki. Like Colleen doesn't deserve to get the heat right now. Like she's done nothing wrong except just exist and be on the season. But yeah, I love the daily, love the curveball there. What did you think of the little bit of drama before they went into the daily with Michelle getting accused of potentially throwing this daily challenge with Kylan and James being there? It seemed pretty heated there. And Michelle was very, listen, relax, bro. I'm gonna do it. She got very confrontational and was fighting back. Like her and Kylan not seeing eye to eye going into this.
I mean, they've got good reason. Like any challenge now where you're in a team and it's not your alliance, like you have to think because there's a chance here that they may do something. But I don't like Michelle. Michelle is such a non-factor. I don't think it matters if she throws. Like they had James, Kylan, and Mariah should make up for like whatever Michelle is bringing to that. But I don't think she's throwing.
Yeah, I mean, it's too much of a risk, especially with TJ doing the thing that I was sort of...
She's so paranoid as well. Every episode, she's like, what if it's a girl's elimination? What?
Yeah,
she got angry at Asaf about it before, remember? Like,
yeah.
Oh, no. Well, was it Asaf? She got angry at someone for voting Asaf in with her. Yeah. With Corey. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So I don't think Michelle's throwing anything is basically the moral of the story. And I want to applaud production and TJ for actually following through with the threats this season of it could be a male's elimination. It could be a female's elimination because they have actually rattled the cage and gone back-to-back on female or back-to-back on male.
I don't think it was intentional. I don't think it was intentional. I think this is when Bananas left.
Right. Do you think this puzzle daily was supposed to be for Bananas?
Well, there's no chance they want to go Kara, Brad, CT. They want Brad as the second last champion, like to come out.
No,
like,
Brad's not even there. Brad's flying in. They're getting him over.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They had to bring. So that's why I think they're like, oh crap, we're gonna have to switch it and bring Cara Maria.
What's Brad's intro gonna be like? It's now this next champion. When I tell you, one of the pioneers of the show, he's been there since day one. The back. Didn't even say a legacy of
a
the
legacy.
Challenge.
A legacy of the challenge.
It's going to be Brad. Brad's going to get the biggest intro of the season. I'm telling you now, with Tori being the GOAT, what is he doing? He's got to up it for Brad coming in, man.
But what does legacy even mean? It's just like legacy's not is not a praise. It's just you've been there long. Like like he was around for ages, man.
He's seen it all.
He's good.
Well, with his eyes, like coming in, he doesn't miss anything, mate. Like his eyes are open on all of those daily challenges and eliminations. So he's been computing for this specific daily, so he could take out the new champs. But it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Elise says it was weird. She was offended. She's thrown a challenge with Kylan before. Sudani says Michelle literally threw a challenge with Kylan previously. Her being upset with something. Brian said it was funny in her confessionals. Michelle said she wanted people on her team to go to elimination and gets offended. People were questioning her for throwing a challenge. Yeah. BBG95 says, they would have done Bananas and CT at the last two in some order.
Kara, I think it would have been Bananas, then Kara, then CT as the final.
TJ, he's got beard of beards, Brad. The Brad beard. Danica says, that makes sense that there was 2 girls days in a row. Bananas messed it up. Chris says legacy means an iconic player of the past. They don't call any retired player a legacy. Only the big ones. Justice for Brad with 4 exclamation marks at the end of it. So Daddy says, I hope Asaf gets Brad. Peter says, hey, long time no me. Sorry to be away. Had some loss in my life, but happy my boys again. How about Kara? Pete, welcome back. Firstly, condolences for the loss. I went through something similar last year as well and lost someone pretty close to me. So, never a great time, mate. Good to have you back with us. And I agree. I brought out the Kara Cult shirt to give you an idea how excited I am about Cara Maria being back, because the cult is back, baby. That's all I can say, Pete. We're back. Lovable Nikki is saying, y'all are treating Brad as though he is Danny Jameson. Simmer down. Brian says they're going to give Brad a pizza eating contest. Val says, I just want the next elimination to be physical. Imagine Brad coming in and it's a boxing
pizza me?
Like, finally, justice for Brad if he gets to go fisticuffs with someone, because then maybe he gets like a proper boxing match, and we don't remember the Darrell Brad fight from all those years ago where he didn't come out of that looking too good. Chris saying, if not Jay, I hope Asaf gets CT. I need his annoying ass to be humbled by the best of the best. A lot of people agreeing to hear that. Yeah, give some love to Pete in the live as well. Pete saying, love you guys. Kara looked amazing. This cult member is ready to worship at the altar of Maria. Let's go, Pete. We're back. I know Pete's a real one, because when I was still standing Kara, when everybody was hating, Pete was with me way back. He's a real one. He's a day one. But yeah, let's talk about, I guess the nominations was pretty bland. Like, Corey being called out for not making a move at the end. Raven's talking to him about it.
Corey said it though.
Yeah. He's like, I'm just not brave. I'm not brave.
Yeah,
you know?
he goes, I'm voting for you because I'm a pussy. Like, that was cool. Like, he actually admitted it. He goes, I'm just following what everyone's doing, and I'm ashamed of it, but I'm looking after me. Like, I was like, okay, like, respect for like being honest about it. You know what I mean? Like, everyone will make up some weird excuse for why they're doing, but
it's not very villain-like though. I need him to become the villain again. Like,
it's true.
I need him to be the villain. Like, he's like, own it, Corey. Like, play it. But he got smacked on the head pretty hard when he tried to make moves earlier in the season. I think it scared him off from doing anything, and now he's probably playing the smart game by going back into his corner a little bit and going through the motions. But Raven's kind of calling him out, saying, no one's going to become a champion by doing that. And he acknowledges it. So I do think that Corey still has one or two betrayals in him. And I wouldn't be surprised.
I love Raven in this, by the way. In the deliberations.
Awesome. The whole season.
Raven, for me, has stamped her return ticket. Like, give her a 5-season contract or something. But
is she the most impressive of the females this season, would you say? Or who would you put above Raven as impressive? Because she's up there for me as well. I think even when Drew, Chantal, and I spoke about the mid-season one, all of us acknowledged there was 3 women that we were sort of standing. It was Raven, Mariah, and I can't remember who the last was. Zara was the 3 women that we stand the most, who we wanted to do well. So would you say Raven is on that list maybe the most impressive? Because not only is she doing well in eliminations, and she's winning dailies, but she's also standing her ground, and she's not following the herd. She's
doing the Cara Maria like angle here. She is the underdog that keeps getting voted in, that does not have anyone on her side in the house. She actually tried like the UK or Aussie romance thing, like with the weird tattooed pirate looking guy. Like, so she's going down that path, and she is struggling against the majority of the house. And we always like that underdog, but the fact that she's backing it up and actually doing well in dailies, she's standing up for herself. She's not really taking any flack for it, or like Corey, who was a villain at the start. She's not trying to like dig her way back in, or like ingratiate herself in. She knows where she stands, and she's like, okay, I'll stand here.
She's like, I'll take note of everybody taking shots at me, so that when I'm in power next time, I won't feel bad mentioning names, basically, is what she's saying. So like that strategy for now. There's a few people here that doesn't want to give Corey any props. Pete says that the show needs a heel. No one is a bad guy this season. And Wooly says he wasn't bad this episode. Let's cut Corey some slack. I do agree. I still listen, I don't know I'm well and truly off social media. Don't know the drama that's going on there, but I still think he's added something to the season, and wouldn't hate him coming back.
We're going to get way more people from 12 Dates of Christmas now because of Corey.
Yeah, 100%. Danica saying Coriel is still a villain. He needs to go. BBG95 says Raven is doing better without Johnny around. Totally agree. Chris is saying taking notes of everyone taking shots at her.
Okay, everyone.
AKA everyone. That's true. Everyone is taking shots. Lena says, agree to Danica. Last season, she came off desperate with Johnny's attention. I prefer this Raven. Yeah, she was, she's a lot more strong this season, the way she's coming across. I think the rest of the unless there's anything burning you wanted to discuss around the strategy and the scrambling from Colleen with Kylan and the rest of the team, if there was anything that stood out for you, do we give Colleen some props there? I mean, she's only scrambling when she's being nominated. It happened last time as well. We don't see her working outside of those times.
Yeah, I did like the return of the notes that she was making lists and I think
she was bang on.
Yeah, she was like, and she even except that she put herself and Emmanuel at the bottom of the European, like at the bottom of the European, like potentially to be able to jump over to the Kylan side. So yeah, I appreciate that she's trying. Like that's kind of the mole thing in her, but yeah, too little, too late. You need to be doing this weeks ago and see where you are in the pecking order.
Yeah, totally agree with you. I think it's a little bit late at this stage, and yeah, it's downhill from here. Colleen's going to have to fight her way back. One thing that was interesting though was Raven talking about the fact that we could appeal. I think it was Raven or Colleen talking about the fact that we could appeal to Cara Maria if she's the next champion because she was an underdog. All the times that she was on the show and got thrown out by the house and they kind of ganged up on her. So maybe she'll empathize with our situation. And I thought it was very interesting since Michelle also preempted Laurel coming out in the previous round saying, Laurel is someone that will target me if she comes into the house. And I personally believe that producers are giving information to
the production's saying something
in advance because yes, they could have done these confessionals after. I don't know. And again, it's tinfoil hat stuff. It just seems too perfect that they knew. Like, Cara Maria's been off the radar for such a long time. Who would have guessed that she would come back this season? Like, to me, it's just so far-fetched.
Well, I guess maybe if they're in the world, which they are, this was filmed after All Stars.
So there's a possibility.
They would have known that she was in All Stars. They might not have known that she's here.
These people
that's true. They don't watch it.
They don't watch Challenge. Like,
although Raven seems to know. Like, Raven knows who Cara Maria is. Like, she gets it. Like, I think a handful of them, like Kylan obviously knows everything and has watched it. So I think
Kylan, I believe.
Yeah.
Kylan, I believe. But yeah, so Chris says there's no way that they could have guessed Cara Maria's coming in as a female champ. I agree. Danica says Raven reminds me of Michaela this season. They have similar attitude. They don't give a shit what anyone else thinks. It's good and bad, but I think they are both growing as players. I agree with that. Chris says these confessionals are filmed after the fact, though. Must have been. Val G says, didn't they have all their names in the one challenge in the beginning that took place in the arena? Yeah, it's from vague memory. They did do a challenge in the beginning with a bunch of champion names being a part of it. I can't remember if Cara Maria was on it. Cara Maria said Laurel stopped her at the elevator and told her what Raven said. So it was after. It must have been after the Laurel elimination, and when Raven was sort of calling people out for not going down, probably.
Right.
And Pete says we saw that people in their lives watch. Who is to say they weren't called from family to say Cara could be there. It's true. Family could have said something. Elise says Raven, Nerys, Corey, and Kylan watched the challenge. So those are all fans of the show. Chris says, I think they had a bunch of champion names, though, not just the ones who were going to be coming in. So
they might have been discussing multiple people, but they just edit the Cara Maria so it fits, They could have been like, what if it's, I don't know. Listen, there's no other female champions anymore.
We got to talk about it, Kuna. We got to talk about it. Now, we all knew that Cara Maria is my favorite challenger of all time, right? The stand card is hard with her. She's my favorite, right up there with the likes of a CT, for instance, probably for the guys. That would be CT and Cara Maria. Those are the two players. If you ask me today, who are your two favorite players? Those would be the men and women that I would put my flag behind, right? Did you know that TJ's favorite player was Cara Maria? Because he actually let it slip here and he said, she is my favorite player of all time. That is massive coming from TJ. I did not expect that.
Yeah, no, me neither. I was like, whoa, like I kind of knew he had a soft spot for her, but I didn't realize to say when there's bananas and stuff. TJ obviously loves bananas.
Do I need to get one of these bad boys out to TJ? I feel like he should be rocking one of these with us.
yeah. If he's in Cara's cult as well, for sure. To say that she's his favorite player of all time. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Same, Joanne. Very, very happy to hear him say that. Very happy also, I feel like TJ really wanted Cara Maria to feel welcome being back, being like, hey, it's great to have you back. Thank you so much for coming out. You could see the joy on TJ's face, having Cara Maria back in the arena. At least saying mine too, Chris. Her record coming into this arena, very intimidating. I was like 18 or 19 eliminations with 12 wins. Or 13 wins or something like that. It was
6, yeah. One thing that I was really taken aback with last week, which I didn't get to discuss, was Laurel's record is not as impressive as I had in my head. I didn't know she's only got one chip.
It used to be very impressive, but in recent seasons she started losing more and more as she's come
Yeah.
back, as she's gotten older. Where Cara Maria is the opposite. She is like fine wine. She gets better with age, and yes, she lost this one, but she's chiseled. Like she's working out, she's keeping in shape, she's training. So I feel like Cara Maria still has some championships in her, and that's why I've been screaming for her to come back and get into the main show. I want to see her back on the main show to give some of these young kids, the new breed, a little bit of a run. But like she said, even when she was reviewing the season, she had to step away. She even said it herself. I had to step away for Tori to shine. Tori had her chance to shine when finally Cara Maria got out of the way for her, Kahuna.
Here we go.
I was like, oh, I'm going, I'm ready.
No. Look, I can't deny that. I think Kara stepping away did allow Tori to shine. I don't necessarily think that if Kara had not stepped away, it would mean that Tori was blocked that entire time. I think we would have seen a really strong clash of two incredible females, and I hope we get that coming up as well in the upcoming season, because I think Tori is the next evolution of Kara. I think she's maybe slightly less, or not slightly, she's less physically gifted. Cara Maria is a better competitor. But Tori walks over Kara in social game. Vacation Alliance will destroy Kara unless she comes with more than Paulie. Like, she does not have the connections anymore. It's been
Not
too
now.
long.
Not now.
Yeah, she doesn't. So what's she going to do
away.
in coming seasons?
Well, it depends on the mix coming back, and it's not like Cara Maria isn't used to going into the arena and winning her way to the end. She's been in more eliminations, I feel like, than probably any other female out there, so she knows what to do.
She better keep doing it then. She's gonna have to, because here's the thing I wanted to say as well, and I just want to throw this out to people who always go on about me with the Tori hate.
Oh, here we go. We go. It's everybody sit down. It's
I mentioned this to you before we started the episode, but Cara Maria, for the longest time, and I'm not saying this is what Tori has, but Cara Maria for the longest time was the lovable underdog, incredible competitor, horrible social game, who never had any power in the game, and that's why we loved her, because she was always fighting from behind. When she finally got power and created merch called Kara's Cult, and that season where Paulie was with her and she was running with Ninja Natalie, and they kind of had the numbers and were doing over Johnny Bananas and stuff.
They were the Vacation Alliance before the Vacation Alliance.
People turned on her.
Yeah.
Like, it took that break for people to start missing her and love her again, but people hated Cara for a while there. The Kyle storyline, the Paulie storyline. Cara was not popular. And it's when she got power, when she was actually good in the game and running the game, when she's the underdog and fighting for her life, people loved her. When all of a sudden she's in charge and actually running it, people turned on her. Tori didn't have the underdog thing that Cara does, but when she's sitting comfortable, sitting pretty, not a worry, and is also very physically dominant as well, people hate Tori. This episode, Michelle beat Cara Maria. All of a sudden, she's this season without anyone else there. You mentioned this is her season. She's running it. She's the queen pin. She's running the social game. She's running the strategic game. People are turning on Michelle now this season, right? Because it's the woman in charge. It's the woman on top. It's the woman in power.
What are you trying to say, Kona? Are you saying that the fans can handle a strong woman being in charge of a season?
That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying for all the people that shit talk Tori, just remember that she is in the same boat. You're shit talking a powerful woman who's actually doing well in this game. When we talk about season 40 and we're saying goats and who we're going to bring back and all that sort of thing, go through the list of female champions that we can realistically bring back, and it's looking short. Like when you say Laurel is one of the goats, and she absolutely is, and then TJ says one of the goats, the greatest champions, she has one championship. One.
Yeah.
Like what we're talking about, the roster of females that we can put up there with the Bananas, CT, and Jordan, it is short. It is Cara Maria. It's an Evelyn. It's unfortunately someone like a Camilla, a two-time champion. Money Mitchell, two-time champion. Like, are these people you're saying? Like, that's Rachel. Rachel and Evelyn are not realistic. They're not coming back 20 years after making any sort of appearance. You know what I mean? Like, they're not coming back. Or at least I'm gonna probably eat those
Yeah.
words. They made
Like,
me
listen,
laugh.
listen. I'm just gonna say this. I feel I hear you on some, and I know Chris does not like it when we start talking about fans not liking a strong woman being in charge, because I got a lot of flack from her for the
Hey,
amazing list as well.
the evidence
But
is the proof is in the pudding, man.
listen,
Show
I
me
will say
like
this: Tori definitely does get too much hate, like
yes,
100%. I agree with that, but she's
okay,
not there yet. I think what people are getting annoyed by is the fact that the show is trying to push her as the new thing on the fans when she's not there yet. They're trying to manufacture this legacy for her that a
it's
lot of
because they
people
don't
feel
have
like
anyone
she
else.
hasn't earned yet. She hasn't
The
earned it
show
yet.
didn't. Once Kara left, or once Kara was not in the picture, and I don't think it was we've got Tori now, so we can get rid of Kara. I think it
Mm.
was like this Kara thing is going to be an issue with Paulie going off the rails. Let's get them out of the show and let him fix himself, and we'll see what happens in a couple of years, whatever. But Kara was not in the picture. They needed a female.
And it
They
wasn't
needed
because they
someone.
didn't want Cara Maria to come on. Cara Maria
No,
refused to go on without Paulie. So
yeah,
she also didn't want to come back during that time. But W said Cara's Cult was only one season, War of the Worlds 2. Vacation Lines has been like 4 seasons, no
yeah.
comparison.
But it would have
Jane
been longer.
also Laurel
Kara's
was
Cult would have
busy
been longer.
getting that degree. That's why she's got one ring. Tori made the show her life and only manages to have one ring so far. And I will just put this out. I'm going to put this out. The one thing that kills the whole argument about Tori being so great is that the one championship Tori did win, the one girl got eliminated by being injured during that final, and the other one was Anissa. That's who she needed to beat in a
And
final.
Nani.
And Nani, who's got a horrible record, right? So that final, the competition was weak. The one season where she was the champion, she was the badass, she was the GOAT coming, or the legend, playing against newbies, playing against Desi, playing against Michaela, going up against Chanel. She got beaten by all 3 of the rookie girls that season, and she was dead last. So it's
They're
not a
normal
great
rookies,
reflection.
though, Desi and Michaela, compared to any rookie that Kara's played against.
All like like, listen, you're a stats guy, Kahuna. I'm a stats guy. It doesn't look
No,
good.
I will concede that. I think Tori's win is not, but it's still a win, and I think she's going to get lots more.
Mm.
I will say again, please don't let this confuse people. She is not the GOAT for me. I just defend her
Yeah.
because so many people shit on her.
Let's
And
talk
she
about Cara
doesn't
Maria.
deserve it.
Let's move on from it. Like I'll
Now I
remove
can
the
shit on
shovel.
Cara Maria.
I'll remove the shovel from your hands.
I'm going to add
Cara
to
Maria,
it. I've got stuff to say about Cara Maria.
Cara Maria came in to this elimination, had limited time. And I love the fact that she was so confident in her own skin, because this is not the Cara Maria that we knew that started Fresh Meats 2, who was uncertain and unsure about herself. She's had a lot of growth happen over years, and that came with like managing to get to as many finals as she's been able to get to, winning as many eliminations as she's won in the sand, building this legacy as in my opinion, the GOAT for the females coming back. And especially when you look at people that are still playing the game right now, she's definitely the best, right? So she's coming back. She's got it. She owns it. She's standing in front of TJ and she says, before we continue, let me just have a bit of a conversation. Let me just take control of everything. And I'm going to go by everybody that's standing up there that's safe. Who of those people, what have they done? How many times have you guys been here? Oh, I've been here 3 times. I've been here 2 times. Great. What about those? They haven't been down once. Okay, let's play a game. Orange Jacket, let me know. If you had to choose someone else to come down here, who would it be? And she's like, oh, I can't, this, that. It's like, no. I need a name. If you don't choose a name, you're coming down into the sand. And holding Michelle hostage to that and seeing the fear in Michelle's eyes and everybody being like, holy shit. It was probably the moment of the season. Like, it would have been even better if it played out for Cara Maria and she eliminated the top player this season, socially, the one that's running things. But I still feel like Cara Maria coming in, announcing her return with a balls to the wall gangster move like that. That is the thing that made the season for me so far with the champions. And CT is going to have to really up it. I mean, CT will just have to show up and people will be fearful. But I do think people are going to remember this moment. What a great TV moment. Shows why Cara Maria is one of the GOATs, because not only is she entertaining and good at challenges, she's the full package, really, Kahuna, when it comes to the show.
Not a puzzles.
Not a puzzles. No.
No, she is. She was great. And apparently, like, I love the little shit talk that she did where she's like, I'm here to see the cheap imitations of what a challenger looks like. And apparently they were saying that she went way harder, that they edited out and stuff. She was talking about, like, was there a water challenge today? And they're like, yeah. And she was like, that makes sense because there's a lot of plastic in the ocean and stuff like that. Like,
Why
she
did
was
that not
like,
make the cut?
yeah, she was like going at them. Like, so
Was that a dig at
I really
Mariah?
loved it. I really love. Yeah, I think yeah. I didn't like the. I mean, Michelle was first off the rack, but what do you want Michelle to do? Like, is she gonna go? Yeah, pick my friend next to me that I'm in line to. Like, she's gonna
Michelle played
say
it
it.
correctly. She played
Yeah,
it
Michelle
correctly.
played it correctly. She couldn't do anything in that
No.
in that scenario, but I did like Cara
And
putting
Michelle
him
knew.
on the
Michelle
spot.
knew. She's like, Cara Maria was always going to pick on me. Like, I was going to get called out. I just know. I feel like Cara did play it up, but she went in there with a plan.
I think the thing is as well, unless Kara's been, I don't think Kara's been paying that much attention to the show in recent years either, because
No.
when they did the review of last week's episode and Raven beat Laurel, she was watching it with Darrell, and she's like, "Who's this Raven girl? What do you know about Raven?" And Darrell, like, doing that, you know, when you do that thing where you don't know anything but you pretend you do.
Yeah.
He was like,
Yeah.
"I know she's strong. She's got a lot of spirit." I'm like, "You don't know anything." She got a lot of fight in her. Really? Like, that's what you know? But she didn't know anything about Raven. She didn't know who she was. So I do think there's an element of Michelle being, first of all, a Survivor winner and also having a few seasons under her belt.
But Cara didn't know that she
Cara
was a
would've-
winner. She said afterwards, she's like, I
Survivor.
didn't realize she. Yeah, I know.
Oh,
But Cara
okay.
Maria didn't know. She
Right.
after the elimination, she said, "Who would have known she's a
About that.
champion at Survivor?" You know,
Yeah.
it's like I lost to a champion. That's fair. You know, I'll take the
Yeah,
loss. I'll take it in good stride. But yeah, I mean, again, it just showed like if Michelle and Cara Maria had to run a final against each other, Cara Maria would run circles around her because she was
Unless it's a
gassing out.
puzzle.
Yeah, she was gassing out trying to get everything up there. And maybe the puzzle could be the equalizer. But in saying that, like, don't take away the fact that Cara Maria has won a season all on her own as a solo.
No.
So
She's amazing.
she can pull it up. It just this puzzle, she wasn't there. She's been out of the show for a
But
long time.
she
And another
did get
thing that,
destroyed in this eliminator. It wasn't even close.
yeah, for sure. The puzzle, it was not good. The puzzle was not good. Give props to Michelle and how she won at the end. But like I said, Cara Maria is coming in from the wilderness. Yes, she's done a season of All Stars. She's coming in.
She's rusty.
She's rusty as hell. Like, give her a couple of seasons, man. I'm telling you, she'll be up there.
I agree with that.
She'll like you can't expect her to be firing on all cylinders coming in cold. She needs a warm up.
I think the whole mercenary format is really hard to just be cold, completely cold, not in the competition, not in the house, not in the headspace, and just go into the sand and try to beat someone who's currently competing and in that sort of space for weeks at a time, doing multiple dailies, maybe multiple eliminations, and you're supposed to just come in with zero warm-up, zero anything, zero prep, and just win an elimination. It's hard. Like, it's definitely hard.
Pete says Michelle versus Cara in a hall brawl, pole wrestle or balls in, and no chance Michelle wins. Cara Maria is good at some puzzles. Yeah, that was funny because Raven got eliminated right before Darrell entered into the game. What else do we have here? Sudani says Michelle has also said many times she hates endurance, which you can't win a final without. But Michelle will just get to a final one day and complain about the fact that they didn't hand it to her. Like Anissa used to complain about not being given an opportunity to run in a final, you know, unless they work on their weaknesses, which is one of the reasons, we don't have to go on a whole tangent about this, that I give Josh some respect. He is working on his physical abilities, you know, like he's transforming in front of our eyes. He's becoming more fit.
Got a lot more to work on though.
100%. I don't disagree, but I applaud the hustle. It's more than what I've seen a lot of other people do when they've got weaknesses on the show, and just they continue to come back and hoping for better days. Dabu is saying, is Cara really rusty? We don't know how many elims she does in All Stars 4. No idea, Dabu, and I'm not spoiled, so I can't tell you. But I do know that by the time that they filmed this, it would have been again 5-6 months later, probably, wouldn't it? Because it was like early in the year that they filmed.
Yeah, it would have been a few months apart for sure.
Yeah, she's just not in the groove of it. W says, how has Cara been friends with CT over a decade but struggles with puzzles? Yeah, and it's weird because Cara Maria is like
good at puzzles by being friends with someone. It doesn't rub off your puzzle ability.
But Cara Maria is like real into like nerdy stuff like book reading and doing some of that stuff. So you'd think that she would be like good at like word puzzles or things like that. This was more like a visual puzzle where they had to figure out the pattern. Like,
Cara Maria, like, I've never got the vibe off her that she's the sharpest tool in the shed.
I don't know. Like I said, she does. I know on her social stuff, she reads a lot of books and then has like book club and all that kind of stuff. So you'd imagine someone that reads a lot of books would be decent with words at least, right? Because normally people who are not good with words, they don't gravitate towards doing book club. You know what I mean? Like it's a bit different. W says the goof can train all he wants. Composure is his problem. Yeah, he gets in his own head and then just basic athleticism. What did you think about the fighting words from Jay here saying that the newbies are here to stay? We're taking over. Gone with the old. I've now beaten CT. Michelle has now beaten Maria. We're it. Get used to it, fans. What did you think of that? Do you feel like the fans will love them more for it, or it will continue to grow the resentment between those that have been there before versus the newbies?
I think it's actually backfiring on the producers based on what I've read on social media and stuff. Unfortunately, by giving the eliminations as puzzles, people don't respect that. And they're not really giving Michelle props for a win because, first of all, there's the house. They always discount the fact that the house helps, and the fact that it wasn't a pole wrestle, therefore it's not counted or whatever. Like the way people are saying that. It is disappointing that we've had now there's been the only physical elimination was Casey, right? Everything else was kind of puzzle based. Yeah. So that's a little bit disappointing. But at the
Casey's
same time,
one of the newer champions, right? So they probably want to help the newer champions as much as they can.
I mean, Tori, they didn't give a physical one. Devon, they gave a freaking weird puzzle thing to. Darrell giving carnival games.
Yeah, Devon's one was a numbers thing, so it's in his wheelhouse.
I guess that is kind of to his strength, though, isn't it? Yeah. The whole thing is that they're giving challenges
Darrell wasn't helped
that are not their strengths.
No, Darrell wasn't helped. He was in like a carnival situation with the platform that he had.
But don't you think that, like, I hear that backlash, and I'm like, I agree from the perspective of, I don't think the challenges is good. I want to see eliminations that are physical, but I don't want to do it from a perspective of the elimination should be catered to the champ. They should have it in their wheelhouse. I think they're actually kind of doing it the right way in that the champion should not have the advantage. They are the better competitor. They are the champion. They are the veteran. They know what they're doing. If there's going to be any slight advantage, give it to the freaking crappy rookie that's supposed to come up against this monster. But so like that perspective, they're like, oh, it's not fair. Why would you give Darrell a carnival? Why would you give Kara a puzzle and Laurel a puzzle? I'm like, well, why would you not? Are you saying they're crap that they can't do eliminations unless it's specifically catered for them? Like, was it fair that Jay weighs 50 pounds and he had to do it, or Bananas is going to be outweighed by CT in a backpack competition? Like, any pole wrestler with a giant against a small person, like no one complains that it's unfair.
No. I think it's
with a puzzle. People complain.
No, but I think it's the theme and the way that we're selling the champions. We're saying if you want to beat the best, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. Well, but then I want to see. Yeah, but then I want to see the best in their element. Like I want to see them in their element.
I do agree with it, but again, even just from the perspective of bad TV, like they're not good challenges. I don't like puzzles as a general rule for a visual thing, but I don't like that the angle they're taking on it is not that this sucks because it's a boring thing, but they're like, it's not fair. You need to give the champions their cushion, their sweetheart challenge. You know what I mean?
And I will agree on this comment as well, saying that the house helping wouldn't have changed the outcome of that elimination. It wasn't even close. And a lot of people are forgetting that Michelle is great at puzzles. Like she dominated in Survivor in the puzzle section of it. It's the physical stuff that she was always weak at, even in Survivor. So, but
his giant blocks are pretty physical.
Good. Yeah, she was struggling to get the blocks there, but when she got it there, and I loved a little bit of like dirty gamemanship from Cara Maria, like leaving blocks in Michelle's way on purpose as she's trying to like get it to her podium and stuff like that. It's just the experience coming into play and clearly doing it to try and throw Michelle off her game.
You know how I said Jordan backed up Cara about the house helping and stuff? Michelle replied to Jordan on Twitter, on X, and said, I 100,000. She used 100,000. She added extra zeros. 100,000% believe I was winning that challenge no matter what. I'm good at puzzles, and Cara was nowhere near. So
No,
it
close,
wasn't
yeah.
the house helping in this one. Like even Michelle said,
Yeah, and
it
then
wasn't.
to be honest, it's one of those things where I've heard the veterans say to newbies when they have been eliminated in that way, and they're complaining. And I'm pretty sure Michelle and Jay were the ones complaining when they went out.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
now that I think about it, being like,
They're
"Oh,
like,
why is
we
the
couldn't
house
hear
helping?"
because of Jordan. Yeah.
Yeah, and Jordan was the one who was shouting help.
Yep.
And so
100%.
some of these vets are so hypocritical, man. Like
Very
it's like, oh, if it's in my favor, it's not an
Yep.
issue, but if it's against me, suddenly now it's an issue. So it's but if you ask me my opinion without choosing a side, I don't think that the people on the sidelines should help. I've
No,
said it many a
I
times.
agree.
Keep them out. Make it fair between whoever's in the arena to hash it out between them. And TJ should be like, if you're on the sideline, you have to stay quiet. You're not in this, kind of thing. You
The
can cheer
funny
them
thing
on,
is,
but you can't help them.
Kara and Darrell watching Laurel's elimination, they were talking about how much the Hells was helping Raven. And like, yeah, that's huge. Like that's a automatic win if you have everyone helping you. And Kara's like, I don't like it. And Darrell kind of said, well, that's kind of where a lot of the spice comes from. When you see who's cheering for who, the lines are drawn and the rest of the house knows you're helping this person and not that person. Or you're cheering for this person and that person. He goes, that adds a lot to the plot and all the stuff behind the thing.
Dabu coming in with fire here, saying if you're going to market a show as America's fifth sport, can't just do puzzles every week. Do something physical to test their will. And it is true. So what I wanted to say on the whole thing about Jay calling out that the new age has now arrived and they're better, smarter, younger, better looking, all that kind of stuff that he's putting out there, is that I am keen on, like someone else mentioned here, like season 40, even if they can't do an all champion season, then maybe season 40 should be champs versus pretenders, so if we get the pretenders versus the champs going into the next season, two teams going head to head, I think it would be fun though. I would enjoy that.
You know what? I'm going to say something controversial for the Nullified Take. To a certain extent, I agree with Jay.
Well, you reckon they're better looking? Danica just came out saying they're
better
not.
Looking. Oh my gosh, this cast is the best looking cast we've ever seen on any show in the history of television. Like top to bottom. Like they are. This is the hottest cast ever on the challenge. I can't believe it, man. They're the best looking cast we've ever. Even the blokes, even the dudes are like.
They're not shy of getting the cheeks out.
Good looking
for sure.
Yeah, man. Holy crap! This is a very good looking cast. But I do think, on the whole, on average per capita, like obviously over 20 years and 40 seasons, we've now got many goats who have sort of risen to the top, and we think that the OG competitors are all amazing because we've seen people come back and come back and come back who are the better ones. But how many people in all those seasons were really, really bad and they either never came back or flamed out or whatever, and we forget about those people and just remember the good ones? But I think on average, the show per person is getting better competitors. They have to. It's evolution. That's the way we work as humans. But we just, memory-wise, we forget that there were a lot of really bad competitors in this show for a long time.
Yeah, no, that's true. A lot of people are saying Kahuna is full of hot takes tonight. Hector's saying we already had that season, Chris. That was the Ruins. The Ruins was like over 20 years ago, wouldn't have been? Or what's it like? Yeah, it's a long time ago. 2009-ish, I think the Ruins came out. Was that right, Kahuna? Like, someone can confirm it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's time for another Ruins then, So I'm all good with that. But I think we've kind of spoken about everything that we could in regards to this episode. It was a fun episode. I am still enjoying the season. I'm here for the long haul. I am fearful that we only have 2 more champions coming out. I'm excited to see the return of the Beard. I'm excited to see the return of the Goat and CT, and excited to see what's going to happen when the champs are gone. Can the newbies actually, they may be better in a lot of things in their minds. I don't think they're more entertaining. And that is where a lot of people are still saying we lack the entertainment. And I am team entertainment in this thing. The show is an entertainment, spectacle first, and then it is the competition, the challenges, and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully they can keep it up and it doesn't become a snooze fest for the rest of the season. But for now, I'm definitely in. Hey, I never claimed I'm great at math, okay? I never claimed I'm great at math. So yeah. But Anyway, so that is it here for this week. Thank you, everybody in the live. This has been a great show. We had over 50 people in the live here. Quite a lot of people. Yeah, we're back for the new year. Quite a lot of people taking part in the conversation. It has been so good to be back on live. Next week, we should be around 6 p.m. instead of 8 p.m., but I'll put it up. Try and put it up a day in advance again so everybody will see upcoming time slots. But if nothing changes, we should see you at 6 p.m. Friday next week to talk about the next episode of The Challenge. Thank you so much, everybody. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, put a like on it, and put the notification bell so you can be informed next time that we do go live. And for everybody that is in the bakery that I saw here, I noticed you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.